Hey everybody, it's Alison Heikkila. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am part of a collaboration hop today, and it's for the newest release from Spellbinders. Spellbinders is not a sponsor of this hop, however, they did send product to the folks that are participating. This hop was started by LV Handcrafted, and you will find her link as well as all of the other participants listed below in my description box, as well with all of the items that I'm using for my project today. I am using the Snuggle Up stamp from House Mouse Designs because it is just so cute. And if you know me, you know I love House Mouse. I've been a fan of House Mouse for many, many, many years. It's a nice large stamp and it comes with 4 sentiments. We will probably wind up using the Snuggle is Real because I think that is just so cute. I went ahead and stamped it onto smooth Bristol cardstock from Strathmore with VersaFine Clair ink in Nocturne. That's my favorite ink to use for super detailed stamps, for sentiments, and for working with my zigs. I started to color it before, but I got an interruption, so I had to stop, and we're starting over. So I started with the skin. When I'm working with the House Mouse stamps, I prefer to get the mice done first, and then I move on to the rest of the imagery. A lot of times they're quite busy, have a lot of things going on, but this one, from this release that I have, I thought that this one was kind of the quickest one to get through. I wanted to show you how I do things. So I'm starting off with number 71, and that's what I did for this mouse right here. I'm going to just finish up this little foot, and then we're going to move over to Oatmeal, which is 64. And I'm going to color in the shaded areas here a little bit at the base of the ear. You can see where all of these dots are, and that kind of helps you figure out where the shading is going to be. These guys are looking down, so I'm going to do the bottom of the faces like this. And then at the feet, under the leaves, and then we can kind of go in around the toes a little bit. Then we're going to take Beige. Beige is number 72. And we're going to go over those areas again, but a little less. This is our darkest tone that we're going to be using. Sometimes I do it the opposite. Like I'll start with my, the first one is called the first number is 71. I start with that always, but then sometimes I'll hop to the Beige and then go into the Oatmeal. But this time I went the other way. Maybe I'll do it the opposite with the other mouse so that you could see how I do both. Now I'm going to go back in with the Oatmeal and just kind of blend this a little bit. We're going to do a lot more with that number 71 color. Okay. And now I'm going to smooth this out, just going in circular motions, just giving it a bit of shading. We're going to hit that nose in a minute with a different color completely. And then we're just going up here a little bit. And already that fella is coming to life. I do like to have a piece of paper on the side just to kind of clean off my marker because it will pick up whatever color it touched before. So now I'm going to take Pale Rose. This is 230. I'm going to hit that nose a little bit, and it's going to look super dark. Don't worry, we'll fix it. And I hit the cheeks just a little bit. And now I'm going to take that 71. You can also use the blender if you want to. Scratch that off a little bit so that I don't make the color too heavy on the cheeks. And I'm just tapping just to kind of smooth that out. I don't want to lose the color completely, but obviously I want it to be there a bit. And there's that first mouse. Okay, so now I'm going to take this same color and start with the ears and just get this all worked in. You could see the difference, like how much warmer this one looks once we've added all of that shading. And now I'm going to hit the tail. Only one tail is visible on this one. Okay, next we're going to go into, let's do it the other way this time. We're going to start with the Beige now. Before I started with the Oatmeal, and now we'll do the Beige. And there's really no wrong way. Like I said before, I do it both. It just depends on what I grab first. So you can see what works best for you. I'm going to go around the leaves like that. Again, use the the dots that the artist made to help you figure out where you're going to shade. And now I'm going to hit the foot a little bit here, like so. And now we'll go in with oatmeal and smooth that out. Bring that down around the eye a little bit. Put a little bit over here because their faces are kind of overlapping. Oh, we forgot that back here. Let's get that with the beige. Back to the oatmeal. And we're going to bring this down the foot a little bit because it's pretty covered with the leaf. And then smooth out around the tail. You can make the tail a little pinker if you want to. I tend to just leave it the same color that the rest of the mouse's skin is. But you can do it however you like. I used to add a little bit more pink to the tail, but now I just don't. You can vary it however you like. Okay, now I've got the number 230. The pale rose, and I'm going to just hit the little nose. And I don't mind if it's a little bit dark because, you know, they're clearly a little chilly, so they can have pink noses. Okay, get the cheeks there. Again, I'm just dabbing it. There we go. And if you think that this one is a little dark, that's okay. You can go in with the blender and kind of remove some color. Or you can use a brush with some water on it or a water brush. I tend to never use water brushes because I find that I don't have very good control. So I use a regular brush with water, like a cup of water. Here we go. All right, we've got that done. Now we're going to do the fur. So let's do this one first. I think I'm going to go with grays for this. I have numbers 908, 909, and 907. So this is warm gray 3, 4, and 5. So for this, I prefer to start with the darkest tone. And the fur is not necessarily the easiest thing to do. My recommendation would be, whether you're using these markers or like Copics or something else, have them straight up. Don't work at it like this. You could see that this has a really fine brush tip. It's an actual brush. If you've never worked with them before, I can kind of flare that out. You could see the bristles. Have it straight up because that's going to give you the finest line. So I'm going to start at the edge of the mouse where the fur is darkest. And just, you could see that I've got it straight up and I'm just kind of wiggling it. And I'm following the fur and keeping it super light. I'm not pushing down. I'm just kind of giving some little flicks here and there. And I'm going to bring it down a little bit, but not too much because I don't want it to get super dark. That's the start. So that was 909, so that was warm gray 5. Now I'm going to go to warm gray 4, which is 908. Again, working straight up and just making those little hairs colored in. And it's okay to leave some gaps too. You can do that. A little bit darker down here now on the face. And then we'll fill in the rest with 907. And play with the colors. I use different fur colors frequently, different combinations. It's nice to kind of play around with them. I do recommend writing them down. If you find something that you think works, write it down. This way you always know what combinations you like. How cute is that? So that's it. That's done. That was our first mouse. Now we're going to do the second, and I'm going to use shades of brown. I'm going to grab that oatmeal again because we're going to use oatmeal 64, mid brown, which is 65, and then dark brown, which is 62. Again, get that brush straight up. We're starting with the dark brown and just kind of work those little hairs out. Sort of creating like an opposite halo effect. You're doing the darker colors on the edges as opposed to the lightest. We'll get lighter as we go in to the head region a little bit more. Again, there's a little overlap there. I'm going to touch this barely just to get some deeper tones in here. Being really careful. And now we're going to go into the mid-brown. And I'll be honest, I tend to take a little bit longer when I'm doing this, but I don't want to take up too much of your time. I hesitated even doing this in real time. I thought that maybe I should speed up the process and just do a voiceover, but these can be tricky to color, and I thought that you would benefit more. I'm using oatmeal again, which is the same mid color that we used on the skin. I thought that you would benefit to seeing this in real time. So if it's too long, my apologies. I just wanted you to see how to do this. And I have some other videos where I color, and you can take a look and find them on my channel. Okay, so this guy's done. I think actually a little bit more over here. All right, now we are going to work on, I think I want to work on the log. Let's do that next. To start off with the stump, we're going to use vanilla, which is number 73. And I'm going to start with the top area and just get this blocked in really quick. You know what I just realized, you guys? There's a tail back here. There's a tail back there. I'm going to have to color that in too. I'll do that off camera. I'm going to block this in with the vanilla just to get a little bit of color going. And then we'll probably go in with that oatmeal. The oatmeal is my most used color. I use it for pretty much everything. Anytime I need to dull a color down, anytime I need to shade kind of the brown tones, I use oatmeal. It's just a great all-around color. It's the one color that I bought multiples of because I use it so much. And I'm just stippling this in. Just kind of following the artist's kind of shading again. Nothing crazy. That tail's really bothering me now, you guys. I have to fix that. I'm going to color that in off camera real quick. And then we'll come back and do the rest of the wood. Okay, that took like no time, but it needed to get done. I have deep brown now. This is number 68. And I'm going to just add some of this in like so. This will be fairly dark, but I don't want to start out with it being overly dark. It's harder to remove color. It's always easier to lift color. I'm just following the lines. Don't want to color in that crack there. And then we'll take some other shades and blend it out. And if we need to add more of a darker tone, then we will. Get that in here. Okay. So just back and forth using that brush as a tool. We've got beige again. Again, this is one of the colors that I used on the mice's skin. I don't want to go too heavy with this because I don't want it to look like the mice. But we're going to blend it a bit. Use the brush as a brush, right? Don't pretend that it is not a flexible resource, because that will help you a whole lot. Okay. We're just creating some different tones in here. You see how that's blending out now? All right, let's grab... I was thinking about using brick beige, but I think it might be a little off. Let's see. If we don't like it, we don't like it. Yeah, I'm not feeling it. I'm going to grab a different color. I don't love it. Let's get something else. Okay, I have Mocha, which is number 603. This one doesn't have a whole lot of browns that are similar to it, which is why I hesitated in pulling it out. But I think that if we go in with the oatmeal, that will help us a whole lot. That's not oatmeal. Here's oatmeal. Okay. And now I'm just going to go over the whole thing. Careful of that tail. I think that that's cute. It doesn't have to look exactly like a piece of wood because, you know, it's an artist's rendering. So don't go too crazy. Just have fun with this. I think that's very sweet. See how nicely that's blended now? Okay, let's move on to the leaves. Okay, onto the leaves. We have 60, which is brown. And I'm just going to work in the areas that have the most stippling. And you can make the leaves 2 different colors if you want to. I'm not going to. I'm going to just keep them all the same. This area here is pretty dark. It's underneath everything else. Now I'm going to go in with light brown, which is 61. And start to blend that out. Pushing that color through like so. And now we're going to go to mustard, which is 67. And we are going to wind up topping this off with, can you figure out which color I'm going to pick? Oatmeal. I'm telling you, you need to use oatmeal for everything. It's great. Here it is. It's just going to make everything just right. Again, I would probably spend a bit more time on this if I wasn't filming, but I thought that you'd benefit from seeing it all in real time. So just know that I might take a little bit longer if this was just me coloring, you know, on my own without anybody watching. We're going back to brown for here. You can see that there's a very small sliver of like a highlight there, so I'm going to leave that open for now. Trying not to touch the veining. I'm just kind of working this in. I'm not going too crazy. I just want it to have like a nice crinkly look with, you know, variation in color to make it interesting. Down here is going to be really dark, so we're going to add it, you know, pretty heavily. Adding some here, following the artist's lines. A little bit here. I think that needs to be darker. And then there's a lift right there. So that'll probably just be like pure oatmeal. Okay, back to light brown. Stippling this in. You can feel free to use some water here if you want to blend everything out. I sometimes do that, but I think that with this, I just want the pure color. I don't want to water it down at all. Just letting the brush do the work. Just kind of touching it to the surface. I'm not really blending too much like in a back and forth motion. I'm just touching the lighter marker to where the darker marker was, and that is automatically helping it to blend. Because these are water-based, so anytime it gets wet with either another marker or with water or whatever, it's going to move. So you want to keep that in mind. If that's not something that you like, then perhaps this type of marker isn't for you. Okay, that's looking good so far. Now we're going in with the mustard. Give us some nice golden tones in there to warm everything up. Trying to avoid this area here because that's lifted. And then we're going to go in with oatmeal and just kind of work it out. I'm going to hit these areas here, the lifted areas, so that they don't change too much. Because as we're doing this part, obviously we're picking up some of the colors that were left behind from the others. and I wanted to keep that nice and light. If you find that it gets too dark, you can go in with, again, either the blender pen or using some water on a brush or a water brush. If you have questions about any of this, please feel free to ask. Happy to try and answer any questions. I'm going to wipe this off a little bit because I want to get this vein here and try to keep it pure oatmeal. There we go. How cute is this? Oh my gosh, it's adorable. Bring it up close for you. That's so cute. So now we get to just finish our card. I think what I'm going to do is trim off this excess. I like to stamp my house mouse on a 4x5 1/4 piece of smooth Bristol cardstock if I'm working with the zigs, and then I chop it down if I want to. And I think in this case it'll be better if I chop it down. So I'm going to do that off camera and get it ready. I've trimmed the mice down, and it's about, I'm going to bring this off camera for a second so I can measure. No, I can do it here. It's about 4 by just over 3 1/4. So that's our piece. I apologize if you hear a lot of noise in the background. There are leaf blowers going crazy at the house next door. There's nothing I can do about it, so I'm sorry if you can hear that. I have chosen a piece of Echo Park paper. This is from the Happy Fall collection. It's really cute. And I think that we're going to put this here like that. But we need to do a little bit more. So I have the Snuggle is Real already on a block. I have a piece of scrap from the piece that I cut off here. We're going to stamp that with Fallen Leaves VersaFine Clair ink. Again, VersaFine Clair is my favorite ink to use for sentiments. Just works really well. I'm going to free stamp this and hope that it comes out good. Perfect. And now we'll just trim it down. Get my trimmer here. My camera is super zoomed in, so it's a little tricky for me to get this in frame. We're gonna I like to butt up the sentiment to the edge of the acrylic piece. I know you can't see that at the moment, but trust me, that's where it is. That looks cute. Okay. Everything's falling, you guys. All right. Now, it needs more color in here for the sky, or just color in general. It doesn't have to be for a sky. So what I'm going to do is I have Evergreen Bough Distress ink and my Cottontail blending brush, and I'm going to just work that in a little bit. You have to remember that this will make your zigs bleed. So try not to touch anything with this, because they'll start to bleed and blend and all of that. We really don't want to mess up all of that hard work that we just did. But I just want to give this sort of a halo of color, sort of a vignette look, but not going super dark. You can see that I'm just kind of dragging it down as opposed to blending around and around, because here I can, because I don't want to pick up the color from the mice or the wood and swoop it back out into the background. So that's why I'm kind of doing it that way, because then I'm not picking anything up. There we go. That's cute. And then we could do the same thing for our card base. Yeah, let's do that. I'll do that off camera. I added color to the base and I added color to the sentiment, and now we get to glue everything. Look at that. It's almost the same. Almost the same color there. I don't use Evergreen Bough as much as I should. It's such a pretty color. Okay. Get this on here like so. And then we'll get our little mice. The leaf blowers are gone. That's a good thing. I was just saying to myself this morning too, like, I haven't heard landscapers in a while, and that's so pleasant. And then, boop, they popped up. Okay. Trying not to rub my fingers across that because, I don't want any of the oils of my fingers to potentially mess up all of that coloring that we did. Okay, folks, our card is complete. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please don't forget to check out the rest of the hoppers in this hop. To Spellbinders, thank you so much for sending me these adorable house mouse stamps. I know that this hop isn't sponsored by you, but I am appreciative no matter what. So check out my description below for more information and links to all the products that I used. If you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you came back and watched some more. I will be back very soon with a totally different project. And that's it for me today. Be well, stay safe, peace out.